Hi there, my name is Lo. Welcome back to my channel. On my channel we discuss all things luxury and contemporary handbags, and in today's video I want to do a comparison of the Wandler Penelope and the big Wandler Penelope. Just as a little bit of information, Wandler is a Dutch brand, and being a Dutchie myself, this brand does hold a place in my heart. I don't like everything that they put out on the market, but they have a couple of these beautiful organically shaped designs like the Wandler Penelope that I really do enjoy. I've had the regular Penelope for quite some time already. I also already made a review about this one. I will link that down below. The big Penelope I only acquired recently, but I have used it already a couple of times. Given that there's not a lot of reviews out on these bags, I thought it might be good to give you some insight in what you can expect from these different sizes. Because Wandler is a really nice brand, but unfortunately these bags are not cheap. So it's good to have all of the relevant information. Let's dive into it. As per usual with my review videos, I'm going to discuss the exterior, the straps on these bags, because that's probably the most distinctive thing about the two when you compare them. We're going to talk about the interior, what fits, pros and cons, and which one I would recommend to you. So in terms of the exterior, these bags, besides the strap, are fairly identical. Of course, one is smaller than the other, but we'll get to the dimensions in a second. So it has this sort of harmonica shape. There's no back pocket. Here you have the other side. There's no feet on the bottom. The bag just rests on the structure that it has. And then here you can see the top of the bag. It is a bag that opens with a magnetic closure, and that is also the same on both of the bags. This one in the regular size is in the color black. The color on this yellow one is called Sandy Crust. It's this beautiful buttercream yellow that is totally on trend at the moment. And black is of course a color you can never really go wrong with. Both of these bags are made of calfskin. The leather on the regular size that I have is really smooth, as you might be able to tell, while on the big one there is a bit of grain. So I've also found, at least with this one, which I've had for I think perhaps already a couple of years, that I have scratched it up a little bit. This one I haven't had for all that long, but I think the leather might be able to hold up a little bit better as well, because it does have a bit of grain. One important thing to note about these bags before we move on is that they are quite different in terms of structure. So the regular one is a really structured bag. Like, you can dent it in like this because it has sort of a harmonica shape, but it doesn't really slouch. While the big one is a bit more of a relaxed style. So as you might be able to tell, this one can easily slouch in a little bit. And I do feel that's also what the model is sort of made for. Right now I also see that there is a slouch version of the Wandler Penelope, which is a bit more in the style of this one with the narrow strap. So if you like the slouchy vibe of the big one, but there's other elements of the big one that you don't like the thick strap, or frankly just the size, then you can always just have a look at the slouchy Penelope as well. So moving on to the dimensions, the width of this bag is around 26 centimeters. The height is about 18 centimeters, and the depth is about 8 centimeters. If we measure that up for the big one, the length is 30 centimeters, the height is about 21 centimeters, and the depth here is around 9 centimeters. So let me just hold them again next to each other for size comparison. This is always a bit difficult to demonstrate, but as you might be able to tell, I still have some space here. On the big Penelope, there's not a lot of additional width, but there is a bit of height. And then to just show you the base of the bag next to each other. I will discuss in a minute what will fit in both of these bags, but hopefully that will give you a little bit of an idea of the size difference between the two. Just to wrap up with the weight of both of these, they are not very different in weight. The normal Penelope comes in at around 400 grams and the bigger Penelope comes in at around 450 grams, which in both cases I think is not going to be a problem weight-wise for most people, because these are not very heavy bags. Then moving on to the strap, because that is where the biggest difference is between these bags. So on the original Penelope, you have a strap that is adjustable, but it is not removable. But what they've done, which I think is really clever, and one of the design elements I really liked about this bag, is that the strap is sort of woven through along the base of the bag. You can connect it back here again, and it keeps the strap perfectly out of the way if you're using it on the shortest setting. So this bag comes with 3 settings. This is the shortest one. Now I am going to use my little cheat sheet, but the strap length on the shortest setting is 55 centimeters, so that's a pretty decent drop. Then the mid length is 86 centimeters, which is a nice long shoulder bag, and then the crossbody strap length is 107 centimeters. Then for the large size, this comes with 2 straps, so there is a short shoulder strap attached. The length of the short shoulder strap is 37 centimeters, so the drop is quite a bit shorter on this one than on the regular size. And then it also comes with a crossbody strap, which will have a length of 72 or 83 centimeters. So this one is adjustable and removable. If you want to wear it with the longer strap, you can opt to keep the short strap on the bag. The short strap, however, does come off. The rings on this bag actually do open up, so you can take the shorter strap off. I also like wearing this bag with the short strap. For me personally, I find this bag a little bit too big and bulky to wear as a crossbody bag, but that's of course up to everybody's personal preference. Moving on to the interior, and in this case the bags are also pretty similar, if not identical. They basically come with 2 compartments, and that is the same for this one as well. The interior in both of these bags is made of a micro suede. There's no interior pockets, but given the size of this bag, I do not really mind all that much. Now let's discuss what fits in these bags. When it comes to the normal size, this is just a sort of essentials plus a little bit more type of bag for me. So what it will hold, for example, is a wallet. You can put your phone in there easily, pair of sunglasses, and then maybe you can put your keys in there, and then it's going to be fairly full. So it doesn't hold a massive amount. Of course, you're going to lose quite some capacity because of the tapered shape at the top, but for me it holds a really decent amount if I just want to run out for some errands. So when it comes to the bigger size, of course you are expecting and hoping that it will fit just a little bit more. So again, going to put in the sunglasses and my compact wallet, putting my phone in there, and in that case I have only filled about half of the bag. So I still have the whole back compartment, and that will actually even fit a water bottle. It needs to be a square one because otherwise it's not going to be wide enough. Here you start seeing the slouch because of the weight that's in the bag. Let me also try some other things that I will usually fit in for these purposes. Full-size wallet, that will actually fit as well. And then we always have my favorite contender, the bulky A5 notebook. Look, that even fits. Starts misshaping the bag a little bit, so that's not ideal. But if you have a notebook that doesn't have like the big bulky rings, or if you want to fit something like a reading book, that will actually go into the big Penelope. Well then, to discuss the pros and cons of both of these, let's start off with the pros. And because these bags are in a lot of ways fairly similar, the pros are going to be the same for both of these. Just in general, I think this is a really interesting bag in terms of shape. The magnetic closure makes it easily accessible. The bag doesn't have a lot of internal organization, but that is really fine for the size, and also given the fact that it does have a light interior, which again may be considered to be a con for a number of people. The leather is really beautiful. I do like the pebbled leather a little bit more than the smooth leather, frankly, just because I have already scuffed this bag, and I'm thinking that the pebbled leather is hopefully going to hold up just a little bit better over time. I like how these bags are versatile in their wear. When it comes to the regular Penelope, I think that it's just really clever the way they have worked with the strap so that you can wrap it all around the bag. That was of course not going to work with the big Penelope because the strap is really thick, so you won't be able to wrap it around the bag. And I think if it would have had a narrow strap, it was going to be very uncomfortable. But I like how they have made it just sort of a completely different vibe. Have still added the crossbody strap if somebody wants to use it. And I think it's really clever that they have also made the rings as such that you can remove the short shoulder strap as well if you would like to. When it comes to the cons, because these bags are both fairly structured and they are not the most comfortable to wear under your arm, wearing the big one over the shoulder is going to be less comfortable than wearing the smaller one over the shoulder, simply because this one does have a bit more drop and it is also just the tiniest bit more narrow when it comes to the depth of the bag. This one on the other hand is a bit more structured than this one, so it does weigh each other out a little bit, but overall I'd have to say that this one is the least comfortable wearing over the shoulder. And then one thing that I have noticed with the big one is just that the finishing here on the inside of the flap is not as nicely done. On the smaller one they've basically sewn this flap all the way to the end so that it cannot fold in. As you can see, hopefully here, the stitching goes all the way to the ends. So I do think that this regular size is just designed and finished a bit more nicely than the big one. When it comes to my recommendation, I think it is really up to personal preference. I think the normal one is just a bit more classic and timeless. I've also worn this to a wedding, for example, because it's not so big. I think it also wears a bit better as a crossbody. Again, completely up to personal preference. While on the other hand, of course, the big one is going to win in terms of capacity. It really holds a lot more than the smaller one. I do really like the slouch on this, but it also makes it a lot more casual. The thick strap makes it a lot more casual. I think in terms of pricing, this one comes in right now at 825 euros and the big one at 950 euros. They will usually go on sale at least 30%, but up to 70% if you get lucky. And I think Wandler has really reached a price level where you need to wait for the sales and get a discount. So rounding up, I really do like both of these. Actually, I am quite happy because usually if I get two sizes of the same bag, they are actually quite similar. They just have a different size. And when it comes to the Penelope bag, you're not just getting a different size of bag, you are getting a whole different vibe of bag. So these two really have very different purposes in my collection besides just the capacity that I'm going to need when I'm grabbing a bag. Of course, because I recently got the bigger one. This is the one that I'm most smitten with at the moment. Yet on the other hand, I wouldn't have had the regular Penelope in my collection for such a long time if I didn't think this was a great bag as well. So only time will tell if the big one can also live up to the standard that the regular size has already set. So whether you get the regular size or you get the big size, I think is really up to personal preference. Just make sure that you get it with a good discount and you cannot really go wrong. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you have any questions about these bags for me, please drop them down below in the comments and I will try to get back to you. That's it for now. I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, and as we say in Dutch, doei!